Hey, this is Sandy.
This is Andy.
And today we're going to talk about how to use an auger to dig your fence hole posts.
A one-man auger.
A one-man auger.
Yes.
There you go. For budget-friendly home improvement advice where we help you to save more so that you can do more, subscribe below and let's get started. We have a pretty sizable backyard. And at the time, it was pretty open and we had kids. So we wanted to put in a fence. Now, what I did not know was the variety of fences, the types of styles of fences, and how much they cost to install. So after some research, we kind of came down to the conclusion that we were going to do this as a DIY project.
Yeah, I think we had a contractor quote $6,000 and another one quoted $7,000. We said, how about DIY?
How about less than $2,000,
Yeah.
I think is what it ended up being.
Yeah.
Now, we are not going to lie. This took multiple weekends, and it took the coordination of rental equipment. But that was kind of the fun part.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk to you about what goes into renting an auger, why you want to rent an auger, and then a couple things that Andy did in order to make the process more systematic, I would say. So
Yeah.
the first thing is I'd have to go back and count how many holes there were, but we dug a few by hand. I think we did 2 at 3 feet, right? Didn't we dig?
Yeah, I think 3 feet
originally we
deep.
did 3 feet deep, and after we dug 2, we said absolutely not.
After those 2 days had passed.
It's true. It was like, I mean, if you want the workout or you have kids and they're young teenagers and you need to get their energy out, yes, do this. Let them dig the hole. But we found that renting an auger was just much more practical for this experience. We ended up, you measured by a tape, and we put the fence, we did a square, or sorry, an X with,
X marks the spot.
we did with spray paint, and we did it every, how many feet apart?
8 feet.
Every 8 feet. And we used a 4x4 by 8 feet or
Yeah.
6 feet.
That's right.
By 8 feet.
8 feet long.
Okay. And as we went around, we had already pre-measured how big of the yard we wanted to do fence. It opens in 2 places, and then we also wanted to do lattice in one area, but we'll do that as a total different thing. We did fencing in one area and lattice in the other area. So after we had to call and rent an auger, and it's a one-man auger,
Yeah.
and you can, we assume that wherever you are living, that where there's equipment rental, that they will most likely have.
You can find this machine. Yeah.
And it was gas,
It was
right?
gasoline powered. Yeah. So it's a one-man. This is kind of a big machine, but it's set up really well, kind of like a teeter-totter.
Right.
And the way you get it home is it hooked into a hitch. So you need a vehicle with a trailer hitch.
Right.
And it's not an extremely heavy machine, but it had wheels on it, so you hook it on, drag it behind the vehicle.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty loud machine.
Like a lawnmower.
I thought it was maybe a little bit more than a lawnmower, but I have to admit that the neighbors stopped and enjoyed watching us, so that was kind of fun. You do have to use your weight to push it down.
And mine is meager, so you might see me struggle a little bit.
I mean, you did have to work it down.
Yeah.
Now, what I thought was neat was that Andy built or made a real quick T almost out of wood of how far we needed to drill it down so that you weren't guessing. It was like, and you weren't always having to get your tape measure out and putting it in the hole. Like
Yeah.
literally you made the stick, and then that also served as putting the gravel and then the cement when we went to do it. So that was really easy. The second thing that we did after we put the holes in, we did do gravel first and then cement.
Yeah, at the bottom of the hole, before you put cement in, you need to put a couple inches of gravel, some kind of big gravel, at least golf ball size.
And we did fast drying cement so that
We did, yeah, which is a great thing. And it doesn't, I think it costs a little bit more, but
definitely
it
worth
enables you to pour Saturday, and Sunday you take all the supports off, and you can start mounting your fence panels the next day.
And then as far as mounting the fence panels, we bought several, so we actually had to rent a truck for that as well. We just did a daily rental. And after we loaded it up and brought it home and unloaded it, it was just the 2 of us. So you would carry it over, and then you actually made a support at the bottom. We were on an incline, but the support allowed it to be off the ground because you don't want it to be. That's the mistake that a lot of people make, is that they put the fence right on the ground and then it kind of dry rods it. Or
you don't want the fence touching the ground. Ground is wet. Dirt is wet.
Muddy.
So it'll rot that wood. So you want to take it up off the ground a little bit. So yeah, what I made is I just took a 2x4 and I cut it into a long wedge shape, like a shim. So, you'd set the fence there in place and approximately in line with the posts. But then if you need a little bit higher on one side, you take that wedge and you just slide it in. And, it lifts. Since it's a wedge, it just lifts a little bit at a time.
And it meant that I wasn't doing it.
Yeah,
which is
no one's
straining on the other side. So that was really awesome.
You just knock it in a little bit, it comes up, and then you throw a screw in.
And then you also use, so depending on if you have to do nice side out or nice side in, depending on your neighborhood codes, because I know each neighborhood has their own little thing. We put the nice side out, so we have the side that you can see the support structure. But with that, you put your level, and then you winched it down.
I kept putting the level on the stringer, and then you bump it and the whole level falls off and you don't want it to break.
Right.
So I just took a quick clamp and clamped the level right to one of the stringers so it never fell off.
And that was brilliant, because then I could see when he was on the other side, because you drilled from the other side. So you drilled pilot holes and then you put the screws in.
Yep.
And we literally, just like an assembly line, went down the row. And I think we have maybe 14 panels or something on that side. I don't know exactly what it was. But it was just a very systematic way of putting it up. Again, we said overall, I think it maybe took us 2 to 3 weekends.
I think 2 weekends.
2 weekends. Yeah, two weekends sounds right. And what we did find out was you do need to, we did it in the fall, and so you need to let the wood weather for a year before you paint it, or at least a season before you paint it, and so that it looks nice. So it looked brilliant there for the first couple of months, and then it does fade. So you do want to upkeep that if you use wood fencing instead of some of the other, and that's why it was $2,000 versus $6,000, $8,000 that we got the pricing on. There is some maintenance that is involved, but can of paint and some teaching you how to paint is nothing compared to the $4,000 or $5,000 savings that we did. So this was our tutorial on how to use an auger. We highly recommend it if you have more than 3 to 4 holes that you need to drill for your fencing. You will appreciate it. It's pretty inexpensive to rent, and let us know in the comments if you ever have rented an auger.
We went with the 1-man auger, and I have used a 2-man auger, and I found the 1-man to be way easier. Because the 2-man, you're actually supporting the weight of it and pulling it out of the hole, the two of you. And the way this is counterbalanced, it just kind of pulls itself out of the hole. It doesn't take much effort. So if I had to choose again, I would never do a 2-man and make my friend or my dad labor with me.
Me, whatever.
1-man works.
Yeah. We hope that you've enjoyed how to use an auger to dig your fence posts. Trust us, you want to rent one. But stay tuned as we talk about more budget-friendly home improvements that you can do, and we'll talk to you soon.